The first question. Is it not true that an immoral life creates hindrances in meditation? What is meditation? It is not your character. It is not what you do. It is what you are. It is not the character, it is the consciousness that you bring to whatsoever you do. The doing is irrelevant, whether you are doing it consciously or not, is the question. Moral or immoral? But are you alert? If you are alert, meditation happens. If you are not alert, you live in sleep. You can be moral while fully asleep. There is no problem. Rather, it is better to be moral if you want to be fully asleep, because then society will not disturb you. Then no one will be against you. You can conveniently sleep. The society will help you. You can be moral without being meditative. But the immorality will be always just behind you. Just like a shadow, it will follow. And your morality will be just skin deep. Because your morality can only be imposed from without when you are asleep. It can only be pseudo, false, effaced. It cannot become your being. You will become moral outwardly, inwardly you will remain immoral. And the more moral you become outwardly, the more immoral you will be within, in the same proportion. Because your morality is bound to be nothing but a deep suppression. You cannot do anything else while asleep. You can only suppress. And through this morality, you will also become false. You will not be a person, but simply a persona. Just a pseudo-entity. Misery will follow. And you will be constantly on the verge of explosion of all that you have suppressed. It is there, waiting for you. And if you are really honest to be moral while asleep, you will go mad. Only dishonest persons can remain moral without being mad. And that is what hypocrisy means. They just show they are moral, but they are not. And they find ways and means to be immoral. Constantly remaining on the surface moral, or pretending to be moral. Only then you can remain sane, otherwise you will go insane. This so-called morality leaves only two alternatives. If honest, you will become insane. If dishonest, you will become a hypocrite. So those who are clever, cunning, they are hypocrites. Those who are simple, innocent, and become a victim of such teachings, go mad. While asleep, real morality cannot happen to you. And what do I mean by real morality? Something which is a spontaneous flowering out of your being, not imposed from without. And real morality is not in opposition of immorality. A real morality is just absence of immorality, not in opposition. For example, you can be taught that love your neighbors, love everyone, be loving. It can become a moral attitude, but the hate remains within. You force yourself to be loving, and a forced love cannot be real, cannot be authentic. It is not going to fulfill either you or the other person you love. No one is to be fulfilled by this false love. It's just like false water. No one's thirst is to be quenched by it. And the hatred is there. And the hatred is trying to assert. And a false love cannot be a real hindrance to it. Rather, the hatred will penetrate the false love and will poison even it. And your loving will become just a sort of hatred. Very tricky and cunning. But a real morality happens to a person who has gone deep within himself. And the deeper you move, the more loving you become. It is not something posed against hatred. It is not something antagonistic to hatred. The deeper you move, the more love flows out of you. It has nothing to do with hatred at all. It is not concerned with hatred at all. And the moment you reach to your center, you are loving without any moral imposition. You may not even be aware that you are loving. Really, how you can be aware? This love will just be so natural, just like breathing, just like your shadow following you. You will be simply loving. Tantra teaches the inner journey. Morality will happen, but that will be a consequence, not a prerequisite. Be clear about this distinction. Tantra says, don't be entangled between moral and immoral concepts. They are outer. Rather, move within. And so the techniques are there how to move within. And don't be concerned with moral and immoral, pure and impure. Don't be concerned with distinctions. Just to move within. Forget the outer world, the society, and whatsoever the society has taught you. All that society teaches is bound to be dualistic. It is bound to be suppressive. It is bound to create a conflict within you. And if the conflict is there, you cannot move within. So forget the conflict and forget all that creates conflict. Simply move within. The more deeper you go, the more moral you will become. But that morality will not be the morality of the society. You will be moral without being moral. Without being conscious that you are moral. Because there is nothing opposed to it within you. You are simply loving because you feel blissful when you are loving. It is a bliss in itself. There is no end to it. No result is needed. Not that you will get into the kingdom of God if you love. It is not a bargain. The morality that society preaches and so-called religions preach is a bargain. Do this and you will get that. If you don't do this, you will not get that. Even you will be punished. It is a bargain. Tantra morality is not a bargain. It is a happening. The deeper you move, you start living in the moment. You feel to love is bliss. It is not a step, a condition, a bargain towards something else. It is enough unto itself. You love because you feel blissful in loving. You are not doing anything for the neighbor. You are not obliging anyone else. It is a pleasure to be loving. It is good for you right here and now. No future heaven or hell. Just now it creates the heaven and the kingdom of God enters you. And this happens to all the virtues. They flower spontaneously. Now look at the question. Is it not true that an immoral life creates hindrance in meditation? Really, the contrary is the truth. A meditative life creates hindrances in immoral life. Immoral life cannot create any hindrances. Immoral life means that you are non-meditative, nothing else. You are fast asleep. That's why you are doing harm to yourself. For Tantra, the basic thing is meditation, alertness, awareness. Nothing else is more basic than that. When someone is immoral, it shows that he is not alert. It is just a symptom. The immoral life is just a symptom that he is not alert. What ordinary teaching is doing? Ordinary teachers will tell to this asleep man who is immoral to be moral. He may change from immorality to morality, but the sleep continues. So the whole effort is wasted. Because the real disease was not immorality. Immorality was just a symptom. The disease was non-alertness, non-meditativeness. That's why he was immoral. Now you can convert him towards morality. You can create fear. And you can make afraid only that person who is asleep. Otherwise you cannot create fear. You can create fear through hell. And you can create profit motive through heaven. These both things are possible only while you are asleep. If you are not asleep, you cannot be threatened. And you cannot be motivated because of profit. Those two things are meaningful only to the mind who is asleep. So create the fear of punishment and he will move from immorality to morality. But he moves because of fear. Create profit motive. then he can move from immorality to morality. But he moves because of lust, greed, profit. Greed and fear are part of the asleep mind. He remains asleep. Nothing basic is changed. He is good for the society, that's okay. For the society, the immoral person is a problem. The moral person is not a problem. So society has solved its problem, but the man remains asleep. For himself, nothing is solved. He is now more convenient to the society. Previously he was inconvenient. But try to observe the fact, an immoral person is inconvenient to the society, but he is convenient to himself. A moral person becomes convenient to the society, but becomes inconvenient to himself. So only the coin is put upside down. That's why immoral persons look more happy and gay, and moral persons serious, sad, burdened. The immoral person is fighting with the society, and the moral person is fighting with himself. The immoral person feels only because there is always fear of being caught. He is afraid of being caught. But he is enjoying. If no one catches him, if there is no fear of being caught, he is okay. The moral person is caught in a struggle with himself. Nothing is okay with him. He is only okay with the society. Morality is a lubricant. It helps you to move easily with others, but then you become uneasy with yourself. Uneasiness remains either with the society or with yourself. Only when you become awakened, uneasiness leaves you. Tantra is concerned with the basic disease, not with the symptoms. Morality is removing symptoms. So Tantra says, don't be concerned with moral or immoral concepts. It doesn't mean that Tantra says become immoral. How can Tantra say to you to become immoral when Tantra even cannot say to you to become moral? Tantra says the whole thing is irrelevant. Don't talk about morality and immorality. Come to the root. You can be moral or immoral, but that is only the symptom. Come to the root. The root is you are asleep, fast asleep. How to break this sleeping pattern? How to be aware and how not to fall again and again into sleep. That's what Tantra is concerned with. And once you become alert, your character will change. But that's a consequence. And Tantra says you need not worry about it. That's a consequence. Inevitably it happens. So you need not worry about it. You are not to bring it. It will happen. You simply become more and more alert. You will be less and less immoral. But this morality that will happen to you is not forced. It is not something done by you on your part. You were just trying to be alert and it happens. How can an alert man be violent? How can an alert man be filled with hatred and anger? It may look paradoxical, but it is so. One who is asleep, how he can be without hatred? Impossible. He can only pretend that there is no anger, no hatred. He can only pretend that there is love, compassion, kindness, sympathy. Those are all pretensions. Quite the contrary happens to the one who has awakened. If anger is needed, he can only pretend. He cannot be angry. He can only pretend. If anger is needed, and sometimes it is needed, he can only pretend. He cannot be sad. But if it is needed, he can pretend that he is sad. Now, these are impossible. Love is natural now, as hatred was before. Love was a pretension before. Now, hatred can only be a pretension, if needed. Jesus, fighting with the money changers in the great temple, was pretending. He cannot be angry. But he has chosen to pretend. He cannot be really angry. He can use anger, but he cannot be angry. As you use love, and you cannot be loving. You use love for certain purposes. Your love is just to get something else. It is never simply love. You may be trying to get money, you may be trying to get sex, you may be trying to get something. Ego fulfillment, a victory, a feeling that you are very powerful. You may be trying to get anything else, but it is never love. A Buddha can be angry if he thinks it is going to help. Because of his love, he may be sometimes angry. But that's only a pretension. And only fools are befooled by it. Those who know, they will simply laugh. As meditation deepens, Tantra says, you start changing. And this is beautiful, when change happens to you. If you do it, it can never be something very deep, because doing is just on the surface. So Tantra says, allow it to happen from the being, from the very center. Let it flow from the center towards the periphery. Don't force it from the periphery towards the center. That is impossible. So Tantra will not say whether moral or immoral. The only thing is, if you are asleep, try to change it. Allow yourself to become more and more alert. Wherever you are, if you are immoral, Tantra says, okay. We are not concerned with your immorality. We are concerned with your sleep and how to transform it into alertness. Don't fight with the immorality. Just try to transform your sleep. If you are moral, okay, Tantra is not going to tell you to become first immoral and then try. Neither the immoral has any need to transform himself in a moral person, nor the moral person to transform himself into immoral, to get into meditation. All that they need is how to change their quality of consciousness. So wherever you are, a sinner or a saint, for Tantra there is no distinction. If you are asleep, then try the techniques towards alertness. And don't try to change symptoms. The sinner is ill, and the so-called saint is also ill, because both are asleep. The illness is sleep, not your character. Your character is just a byproduct. And remaining asleep, whatsoever you do will not make any basic change. Only one thing can change, can create a mutation, and that is alertness. How to become more and more alert. So whatsoever you do, make it an object of alertness. If you do some immoral act, do it meditatively. It will not be long when the act will dissolve by itself, disappear. And you will not be able to do it. Not because you have created an armor against it, but because now you are more alert. And how can you do a thing which needs sleep as a requisite? You cannot do it. Understand well this basic distinction between Tantra and so-called other teachings. Tantra is more scientific, goes to the very root of the problem, transforms you from the very being, not from your outer seat of character, morality, immorality, of acts and doings. Whatsoever you do is just on the periphery. Whatsoever you are is never on the periphery. The quality of the act, not the act itself, is meaningful for Tantra. For example, one butcher came to Nan Inn. He was a butcher, and Nan Inn was a Buddhist monk believing in non-violence, and his whole profession was violence. The whole day he was killing animals. But when the butcher came to Nan Inn and asked him that what he is to do, because his profession is violence. So am I to leave my profession first and then only I can be a new man? Or is there some way? So Nan Inn said, we are not concerned with what you do. We are concerned with what you are. So go on doing whatsoever you are doing, but be more alert. While killing, remain alert, meditative. And go on doing whatsoever you are doing, we are not concerned. Nan Inn's followers became disturbed, because a person, a follower of Buddha, believing in non-violence, allowing a butcher to continue. Some disciples said, this is not good. And we never expected that a person like you will allow a butcher to remain a butcher. And when he was asking, you should have told, drop this. He was himself ready. Nan Inn is reported to have said that you can change the butcher's profession easily. He was himself ready. But you cannot change by that way his quality of consciousness. He will remain a butcher. He may become a saint, but the quality of the mind will remain that of a butcher. That will be a deception for others and for himself also. Go and look to your so-called saints. Many of them remain butchers. The quality, the attitude, the violence, their very look towards you is condemning, violent. You are a sinner and they are saints. The very look when they see you, you are condemned. You are thrown into the hell. Nanan said, so it is not good to change his outer life. It is better to bring a new quality of his mind. And it is good to let him remain a butcher, because he is disturbed by his butchery and violence. If he becomes a saint, he will remain a butcher, but then he will not be disturbed. His ego will be strengthened. So this is good. He is disturbed that violence is there. And he has become at least this much aware that this is not good. He is ready to change, but just readiness to change will not help. A new quality of mind has to be developed. Let him meditate. After 1 year passed, the man came. He has become a different man. He was still a killer. But the man has changed. The doing has remained the same. He came to Nanan again. He said, now, I am a different man. I meditated and meditated and meditated. And my whole life has become a meditation because you told me to meditate in whatsoever I am doing. I am butchering animals. The whole day I am meditating. Now what do you tell me to do? So Nanan said, now don't come to me. Now allow your awareness to make a path for you. You need not come to me. So the butcher said, now only if you say to remain in the profession, I will pretend to be there. But as far as I am concerned, I am no more there. So if you allow me, I am not going back. But if you say, then it's okay. I will go and pretend and continue. This is how, when your quality changes, quality of consciousness, you become a different person altogether. And Tantra is concerned with you, not what you do. Second question, if one follows certain laws of life and calls it moral, then is there any objection from a tantric? Tantra has no objections. But this having no objections is the problem. Tantra has no objections whatsoever. Tantra is not in any way condemning. It is not concerned to tell you, do this, don't do that. If you feel good, if you feel happy following certain principles, follow them. But following certain principles can never lead you to happiness. Because you are not going to change through principles and through following them. you will remain the same. Principles are always borrowed. Ideals are always borrowed. Someone else has given them to you. They are not your own. They have not grown out of your own experience. They are without roots. Just the society, the religion you are born to, the teachers you happen to be near, they have given them to you. You can follow them, and you can force yourself accordingly. But then you will be a dead person, not alive. You may create a certain peace around yourself, but that will be the peace of the cemetery, dead. You may be less vulnerable to disturbances, more closed in because of the principles, but then you will become less sensitive and less alive. So so-called principled men are always dead. Look at them. They look silent, still, peaceful, at ease. But a certain deadness is always around them. The odor of death is always there. You cannot feel the feast of life around them, the festivity of being alive, the celebration of being alive. You can never feel around them. They have created an armor around them, a safety armor. Nothing can penetrate them. The walls of their principles and characters stop everything. But then they are behind the walls, imprisoned. And they are their own prisoners. If you choose, Tantra has no objection. You are free to choose a life which is not a life at all. Once Mullah Nasruddin visited a cemetery, and he saw a very beautiful marble mausoleum. Incised on it the name Rothschild. The Mullah is reported to have said, this is what I call life. This is what I call living. A beautiful marble mausoleum. But howsoever beautiful, it is not life. Marbles, beautiful, rich, but not life. You can create a mausoleum out of your life through principles, ideals, impositions, but then you will be dead. Of course, less vulnerable, because death is not vulnerable. Death is a security. Life is always insecure. Anything can happen to a live person. Nothing can happen to a dead person. He is secure. There is no future, no possibility, no change. The last thing has happened to him, death. Now nothing can happen. Principled personalities are dead personalities. Tantra is not interested in them. Tantra has no objection. If you feel good being dead, it is your choice. You can commit suicide. And this is a suicide. But Tantra is for those who want to be more alive. And the truth and the ultimate is not death, it is life. Remember that. The ultimate is not death, it is life. More life. Jesus has said abundant life. Infinite life. So by being dead, you can never reach to the ultimate. If it is a life, an abundant life, by being dead, you will never be in contact with it. Just by being more alive, more vulnerable, more sensitive, less principled and more alert. Why you seek principles? You may not have observed. Why you seek principles? Because with principles you need not be alert. You need not be alert. You live through a principle. You need not be alert. I make a principle of non-violence. So I stick to it. I make it a principle of being true. So I stick to it. It becomes a habit. I create a habit of being true, always speaking the truth. It becomes a mechanical habit. Now there is no need to be alert. I cannot speak lies because a principle, a habit, will create a barrier always. The society depends on principles, inculcating, educating principles to the children. So they become incapable really. If a person becomes incapable, he is dead. Your truth can be alive only if it is through alertness, not through principle. Each moment you have to be alert to be true. Truth is not a principle. It is something born out of your alertness. Non-violence is not a principle. If you are alert, you cannot be violent. But that is difficult and arduous. You will have to transform yourself totally. It is easy to create a life according to principles, rules, regulations. Then you need not worry. You need not worry about being more alert, aware. You can follow the principles. You are just like a railway train running on the tracks. Those tracks are your principles. You are not afraid. You cannot miss the path. Really, you don't have any path. You have just mechanical rails on which your train is running. You will reach the destination. You need not be afraid. You can be asleep. The train will reach. It is running on dead paths where they are not alive. But Tantra says, life is not like that. It is more like a river, not running on iron rails, not on tracks. Really, it is like a river. The path even is not charted before. As the river flows, the path is created. As the river moves, the path is created. The river will reach to the sea. And this is how life should be if you understand the Tantra way. Like a river. No pre-chartered path. No maps given to you to be followed. Just being alive and alert. And then wheresoever life leads you, you go. with full confidence in it. Tantra is a trust. Trust in life force. Allow it to lead you. Don't force. Surrender to it and allow it to lead you towards the sea. Just be alert, that's all. While life leads you towards the sea, be alert so you don't miss anything. Very important to remember, Tantra is not simply concerned with the end, it is also concerned with the means. It is also concerned with the path, not only with the destination. If you are alert, even this life will be a bliss. The very movement of the river is a bliss in itself. Passing through the valleys, through the rocks, falling down from the hills, moving into the unknown is itself bliss. Be alert here also, because that the ocean, the ultimate, cannot be just a happening in the end. It cannot be. It is a growth. The river is growing to be the sea. It is not simply going to meet the sea, it is growing to be the sea. And this growth is possible only through a rich experience. Alert, experiencing, moving, trusting. This is how Tantra looks at the search, the human search. Of course it is dangerous. If rivers can be run through predetermined paths, there will be less danger, less errors, but the whole beauty of aliveness will be lost. So don't be a follower of principles. Just be a creator of more and more consciousness. Those principles will happen to you, but you will never feel imprisoned in them. The second sutra, third question, discussed yesterday, says the purity of other teachings is an impurity to us. In reality, no nothing as pure or impure. If nothing is impure, then how can the teaching of others be impure? Really, nothing is impure. But the teaching that something is pure and something is impure has to be discarded. Only in that sense the sutra says the teachings of others is an impurity to us. Nothing is pure and nothing is impure. But if someone teaches that something is pure and something is impure, Tantra says this has to be discarded. Only in this sense, the sutra says the purity of other teachings is an impurity to us. Just discarding. Just saying that don't make any distinctions. Remain innocent. But look at the complexity of life. If I say remain innocent, and if you try innocence, that innocence will not be innocent. How it can be? You tried it. It has become a calculated thing. It cannot be innocent. If you try it, it cannot be innocent. So what is to be done? Just discard those things which create cunningness. Don't try to create any innocence. You cannot. Just discard those things which create cunningness in your mind. This is negative. When you have discarded them, the roots causes of cunningness, the innocence will happen to you. Nothing is pure and impure. But what is to be done then? Your mind is filled with distinctions. This is pure and that is impure. So Tantra says, for us, this is only impurity. This mind filled with concepts of purity and impurity is the only impurity. If you can discard it, you have become pure. In another sense also, this sutra is meaningful. There are teachings with very fixed rules. For example, Catholic Christian teaching or Jain Indian teaching, they are against sex. They say sex is impure, ugly, sin. Tantra says nothing is ugly, nothing is impure, nothing is sin. Even sex can become a path. Even sex can become a path towards salvation. It depends on you. It is not sex. It is you who determine the quality of it. Even prayer can become a sin. And sex can become a virtue. It depends on you. The value is not in the object. The value is brought by you to it. Look at it, at this phenomena in a different way. Tantra says even sex can become salvation. But then come to sex without any innocence of purity, impurity, good or bad, morality, immorality. Come to sex as pure energy, just energy. Move in that energy as if you are moving into the unknown. Don't fall asleep. Be alert. When sex brings you to the very root of your being, be alert. Don't fall asleep on the path. The relaxation that comes, the tension that happens, the peak that comes and the valley in which you are thrown back. Be alert and experience everything, whatsoever is happening. Your ego dissolves for a moment. You become one with your beloved or with your partner. For a moment the two are not there. Bodies are two. But deep down there is a communion and they have become one. Be alert. Don't miss this moment in a sleep. Be alert. See what is happening. So this is what was hidden in the sex act. The sex was just the outer core. Now this is the meaning, the central point. This is what you were longing. This is what was the hankering for. This was the search, this unity, this dissolving of the ego, this feeling of oneness, this ecstasy of non-tension. this ecstasy of relaxation. So this was the meaning, the goal. And this is what you were searching through this woman and that, through this man and that, and you were searching and searching. No woman can fulfill it. No man can give it. Only through a deep Tantra awareness, the sex act completely disappears and a deep ecstasy is revealed. So Tantra says, it is you. If you can bring meditation to your love, to your sex, the sex is transformed. So we don't say this is pure and that is impure. And if you want to use the old terminology of purity and impurity, then I will say for Tantra, sleep is impure. Alertness is pure. And all else is just meaningless. If an emotional desire, the fourth question, our mood becomes accelerated and we do not express it outwardly, does this energy necessarily go back to the source and make the person fresh and energetic? Not necessarily. But if you are aware, then necessarily. Any energy needs roots to move, and no energy can be destroyed. Energy is indestructible. So only it can change into different forms, but it can never become nothing. So when you try to suppress any energy, you are doing absolute nonsense with yourself. Energy cannot be suppressed. It can only be transformed. A suppressed energy will become a cancer. You feel anger. Two ordinary routes are available. Either express it or suppress it. If you express, then it becomes a chain, because then you create anger in the other person and he will express it. And there is no end to it. Then you will express it and it can continue for years. It continues, that's how everyone is living. It goes on and on. Those who know deeply, they say for lives also, lives together, it goes on and on. You have been angry with a person in your past life, and still in this life you are repeating the same pattern with the same person. You are not aware, blissfully unaware. So that's good, you think something new is happening. 99% nothing new is happening. Just the old patterns being repeated again and again. Sometimes you suddenly feel a stranger and you become angry. He has not done anything. You have not even met him before. And you feel depressed, or angry, or violent, or you want just to escape from that person. You feel bad. Why? Some old pattern. Energy never dies. It remains. So if you express, you are falling into an eternal chain. Someday you will have to come out of it. And the whole thing is useless. Just wastage. Don't start the chain. Then the other ordinary alternative is suppress it. And when you suppress it, you are creating a wound within yourself. That will be suffering. That will create problems. And the anger will go on being suppressed. You will become a volcano of anger. So it may be you are not now expressing your anger, but now your whole personality will become angry. There will be no eruptions. No one will see you beating someone and being violent, but now your whole personality becomes angry because so much anger within poisons you. Now whatsoever you do, the anger part is there. Even while you are loving someone, the anger part is there. Everything. You are eating your food and the anger part is there. You will be violent with your food. You will not be loving. You are opening a door and the anger part will be there. You are violent with the door. One day morning, Mullah Nasruddin was passing down a street. And relishing oaths and saying very angrily that devil will take possession of your spirit and beats will grow in your belly, and so on and on. And one man looked at him and he said, Mullah, whom you are cursing so much so early in the morning? So Mullah said, who? I don't know. But don't worry, someone will turn up sooner or later. If you are filled with anger, this happens. You are just waiting, someone will turn up. And inside you are bubbling with fire. Just waiting some object, some medium, someone who should help you to unburden. Then your whole personality becomes angry, or violent, or sexual. You can suppress sex, and then sex becomes your whole personality. Then wherever you look, you will see sex. Whatsoever you touch, you will see sex. Whatsoever you do will be a sexual act. You can suppress sex very easily, it is not difficult. But then sex will spread all over you. Your every fiber, every cell will become sexual. Look to the celibates, their mind becomes totally sexual. They dream about sex. They fight with sex. Constantly they fantasy about sex. Obsessed. That which could have been natural has become perverted. If you express, you create a chain. If you suppress, you create a wound. And both are not good. So Tantra says, whatsoever you do, anger, when you feel anger is coming, be uninterruptedly aware. Don't suppress it and don't express it. Do a third thing, a third alternative. Be suddenly aware that anger is coming. This awareness changes your energy that is moving as anger into a different energy. The very energy that is known as anger becomes compassion. Through alertness, the transmutation. The same energy which is known as sex becomes brahmacharya, spirituality, through awareness. Alertness is the alchemy. Through it everything changes. Try it and you will come to know. When you bring alertness, awareness to any mood, any feeling, any energy, it changes its nature and quality. It is never the same again. And a new route opens. It is not going back again to the same place where it was, from where it came. It is not moving outward. The horizontal movement has stopped. With alertness, it becomes vertical. It is moving upwards. That is a different dimension. A bullock cart moves horizontally. An aeroplane goes vertical, upwards. I would like to tell you one parable. One fakir, a Sufi, used to say that someone was presented by a great king, an aeroplane, a very small aircraft. But the man was poor. He has heard about aeroplanes, but he has never seen. He knew only bullock cars. So he thought this is some new device, a new type of bullock cart. So he used his 2 bullocks to bring the aeroplane home. And then he used the aeroplane as a bullock cart. And he was very happy. Of course, the small aircraft worked as a bullock cart. But then by and by, just being curious, he started studying it. Then he came to understand that bullocks are not needed. It has got a motor. So it can go on by itself. So he fueled it and used it as a motor car. But then by and by he became aware of the wings. And he thought, why they are? And the man who has devised this machine seems to be very intelligent, a genius. And he cannot aid something unnecessarily. So the wings, so that the machine can fly also. So he tried. And then the aeroplane came to its own. It became vertical. The mind that you have got, you are using as a bullock cart. The same mind can become a motor car. Then bullocks will not be needed. It has an inbuilt mechanism. But then too it will be moving horizontally. But the same mind has wings. You have not observed, that's why you don't know it has wings. It can fly. It can move upwards. And once it moves upwards, your energies start moving upwards. The whole world is different. Your old questions simply fall down. Your old problems are no more there. Because you are now vertically moving. All those problems were because you were horizontally moving. The problems for a bullock cart are not the problems for an aeroplane. The road was not good, so it was a problem. The road was blocked, so it was a problem. No, it is not a problem because the road is not used at all. So whether blocked or not, whether good or not, it is irrelevant. Moral teachings are bullock cart teachings. Tantra teaching is vertical. That's why all those problems are irrelevant for Tantra. Your energy, that is, you know as anger, sex, greed, whatsoever, is moving horizontally. Once you bring your alertness to it, you have brought a new dimension. Just by being alert, you move upwards. Why? Observe the fact, when you are alert, you are always above the fact. Become alert about anything and you are always above the fact. The fact is somewhere below down. You are looking from above, from a peak. Whenever you witness something, you have moved upwards, and the thing has remained below. If this attention is really authentic, and uninterruptedly you can be aware, the energy that was moving horizontally as anger, as sex, will move into this new dimension. It will come near to you, to the witness. You have started flying. And the device which is to fly, we have been using as a bullock cart for lives and lives. And unnecessarily creating problems. Just not knowing what is possible to you. Fifth question. You said that one should neither suppress nor indulge in sex or anger, but one should remain passively alert and meditative. Obviously, it will need a sort of inner effort to avoid suppression or indulgence. But then, is not it also a sort of suppression? No. It is an effort, but not a sort of suppression. Every effort is not suppression. There are three types of effort. Effort which is expression. When you express your anger, it is an effort. Then second type of effort, when you suppress it. When you express what you are doing, you are forcing your energy outward to the person, to the object. You are throwing your energy. The other is the target. Energy moves to the other. It is an effort. When you suppress, you return the energy back to the original source, to your own heart. You force it back. It is an effort. But the direction is different. In expression, it moves away from you. In suppression, it again moves near you. The third, alertness, passive alertness, is also an effort. But the dimension is third. The energy moves upwards. In the beginning, it is an effort. And when I say, be passively alert, in the beginning, even passivity is bound to be an effort. Only by and by, as you become more acquainted with it, it will not be an effort. And when it is not an effort, it becomes more passive. And the more passive, the more magnetic to pull the energies upwards. But in the beginning, everything is going to be an effort. So don't become a victim of words. It creates problems. Mystics have always been talking about effortlessness. Don't make any effort, but in the beginning, even this is going to be an effort. When we say be effortless, we only mean that don't force the effort. Allow it to come through awareness. If you force it, you will become tense. If you become tense, anger cannot move upwards. Tension is horizontal. Only non-tense mind can be above, hovering like a cloud. Look at the clouds, floating, with no effort. Just bring your witnessing as a floating cloud. But in the beginning, it is going to be an effort. Only remember that you are to make it effortless, less and less, forcing it, more and more allowing it. This is difficult because language creates the difficulty. If I tell you relax, what you will do? You will make an effort of a sort. But then I tell you don't make any effort, because if you make any effort, that will create tension and you will not be able to relax. Simply relax. So you are at a loss. And you are bound to ask, then what do you mean? If I am not going to make any effort, then what I am supposed to do? You are not supposed to do anything. But in the beginning, that non-doing will look like a doing. So I will tell, okay, make a little effort, but remember that the effort is to be left behind. Just in the beginning, use it as a starter, because you cannot understand non-doing. You can understand only doing. So, use the language of doing and action. Start it, but only use it as a starter. And remember that the more early you leave it behind, the better. I have heard that when Mullah Nasruddin became very old, he became a victim of insomnia. He couldn't sleep. Everything was tried. Hot baths, pills, tranquilizers, syrups. Nothing was of much help, of no avail. And the children were disturbed, because Mullah will not sleep himself and will not allow anyone to sleep in the house. So the whole night has become a nightmare for the whole family. So they searched desperately any method, any medicine that will help Mullah to sleep, because the whole family was going crazy. So finally, they brought a hypnotist. And the children came very happy and told old Mullah that now you need not be worried, Papa. This is a miracle man. He creates sleep within minutes. He knows the very magic of it. So you don't be worried. Now there is no fear and you will sleep. The hypnotist sold a watch with a chain to Nasruddin and said, only very little faith will do the miracle. You need me a little trust towards me. Just trust me, and you will fall like a small babe into deep sleep. Look at this watch. And he started moving that watch left and right. Nasruddin looked at it, and the hypnotist says, left, right, your eyes are getting tired. You are falling asleep. And everyone was happy. Mullah's eyes closed. His head moved down. He fell like a small babe into deep sleep. A very rhythmic breathing came. So the hypnotist took his fee, put his finger on his lips, just to tell the children that now don't disturb, and he stole out. The moment he was out, Mullah opened his one eye and told, that nut, has he gone yet? he was doing the effort of relaxing. So he relaxed like a babe. He started breathing rhythmically, closed his eyes. But it was all effort. He was helping the hypnotist. He thought that he is helping the hypnotist. But it was effort on his part and nothing happened. Nothing can happen. He was awake. If he could have just been passive, heard what was being said, looked what was being shown, the sleep would have happened. No effort on his part was necessary. Only passive acceptance was necessary. But even to bring your mind to that passive acceptance, in the beginning, you will need effort. So don't be afraid of effort. Start with effort. Just remember that effort has to be left behind and you have to move beyond effort. Only when you are moved beyond, you will be passive. And that passive awareness brings the miracle. With passive awareness, mind is no more there. For the first time, your inner center of being is revealed. And there is reason. Effort is needed for anything to do in the world. If you want to do in the world anything, effort is needed. But if you want to do something in the inner, no effort is needed. Just relaxation is needed. Non-doing is the art there, as doing is the art in the outside world. This passive alertness is the key. But don't get disturbed by language. Start with effort. Just keep in mind that you have to leave it and go on leaving it. Even leaving will be an effort, but a moment comes, everything has gone. You are there, simply there. Not doing anything, just there, being. That beingness is samadhi. And all that is worth knowing, worth having, worth being, happens to you in that state. Enough for today.